guys getting stuck on this idea, they don't vet women properly then, you know what I mean? So like the suggestion from Gary Chapman in the book is that guys pay attention.
Did you read the book?
Oh yeah,
you did it. Oh,
yep,
man,
I read through. I know I read, absolutely. That's how I can criticize it so well. I read things I criticize too, but you know, I read all of the, you know, crappy relationship books, you know, before I came into, you know, Pickup and Evo Psych, and then eventually like Rational Male and those other things. I read all that stuff when I was trying to figure out.
What were some other crappy ones that you read? I'm just curious.
Oh, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus is horrifying. And I'll have to go through some of the other titles. Like, I think there's stuff by Joel Osteen is horrifying.
I've seen a few, like
Steve Harvey's horrifying.
Yeah, like I've seen a few on the Amazon list now in the dating / relationship category, because my book does well in it. I mean, it's not even in the top 5. I mean, it's generally in the top 20 or so usually, but I've noticed like these books in the top 5 and the titles and the authors I've never heard of, but it's like, it just looks like woo-woo shit. I've often thought about doing a breakdown on like the #1 selling book in the relationship category, just from, you know, the perspective of somebody like me that's kind of made his wounds his work and did all the shit and wrote his own book on it. I think that might be fun at some point to do. Maybe we'll do a book club, Paul. What do you say?
Yeah, book club where we just tear apart these.
Tear it apart. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll praise it. Maybe we'll tear it apart. Depends on what's.
That's true. I do look at things as objectively as possible, and I try to maintain like an understanding of their audience too. I mean, there's a lot of things like our audience tends to be primarily men, but you know, there's a way to present information too that resonates better with women. And so if you're trying to be a little bit more universal, they're not going to be so cold, hard, truth bomb, harsh about certain things. And I can accept that. But when it's just bad advice though, that leads to failure, that's when we're having a problem. I can accept the lukewarm way of presenting maybe what would be good advice. I don't accept the bad advice that's going to destroy, you know, further destroy people's relationships. And in case in point, so Chapman says, you know, that when you're dating and courting and all that stuff, that you're supposed to be paying attention to how she treats others and the way she expresses herself to others to try to determine what her love language is. And then you try to match that and all this stuff. Again, you're paying attention to all the wrong things. So instead of paying attention to the signs that she has genuine desire for you, and that signs that she's, you know, has that you're her best and that she sees you as an apex alpha, and maybe the signs that she's capable of pair bonding, looking at those red flags, looking at those green flags and those things, guys are focused on trying to figure out what her love language is. Well, here's the problem with that too. How she expresses, let's say, love to her mom or you know, her friends isn't going to be how she treats a guy she's genuinely into, right? And so, yeah.
Sorry, I was just about to say, I just pulled up the book on Amazon because I wanted to see how it sells. It sells really well.
Dude, I know.
Dude, there's almost 50,000 reviews on it. And
yeah,
judging by the ratio of reviews to sales on mine, this guy sold a fuck ton of these.
He made
and they're all 5-star. You know when I first realized that this was bullshit, and in full transparency, I haven't read it, so I don't know what's in the content of the book. I mean, I've gone through the quiz many years ago. The time we just did it now, just for jokes, it says over 12 million copies sold. But I mean, the time that I knew that this was bullshit, I'm in a bunch of different Facebook groups, and I don't usually participate. I'm just a fly on the wall because I don't want to drop red pill truths on people that aren't ready for them. But I like to see what they're dealing with. So, in like a couples group, or sorry, like a men's group that's dealing with relationship struggles, there's guys that'll come on and they'll be like, you know, my wife hasn't had sex with me in forever, and you know, she's always nagging me, and I'm very stressed out about it, and I don't know what to do. And what do you think, guys? And it's like a good chunk of the feedback that they'll get is, we'll find out what her love language is, and then go and serve that, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, oh man.
Well, and it should be of no surprise then that only 1 out of 10 relationships, or 13%, according to the study that you showed, are successful and happy.
Correct.
Past the 8-year mark, you know, And even sooner than that, they usually fall apart. But that study was done past the to the 8-year mark. Yep. It's of no surprise long-term relationships don't last because they're picking all the stuff that sets them up for failure. So if we don't challenge this stuff, you know what I mean? It's just going to continue.
It's still the #1 selling book in the marriage category.
Yep. Absolutely.
The #1 selling book. And there's beta males that are going to go out there and buy it after they've been doing the dishes and taking the kids to all the extracurriculars and mopping the floors, like Darren Hardy says, doing all that shit. And then they're going to go and buy the book and do more of that stuff, thinking that that's going to get them what they want in that marriage. And it's a tragedy that more guys don't understand the difference between genuine desire and fucking indifference, really, which is what women have at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's completely different. Like when she has genuine desire for you and she sees you as her apex alpha, the way you do something and how you do something, she'll respond completely different to that than if she sees you as that guy she settled with, kind of a beta, and the genuine desire really isn't there and it's a negotiated relationship. You could do the dishes, okay? Because you know what? You're just going to do the dishes today. Because she's busy with some stuff, you whatever, you know what I mean? And you just do them. That's fine, right? And she's going to be she'll look at something like that really appreciative. Whereas with a beta guy, she looks at that as his duty. You know what I mean? Well, you're supposed to do that. It has nothing to do with love language. It has to do with how she feels about you, And so guys need to get better at seduction and get better at vetting. Well, first vetting, but also better at seduction. And better at maintaining frame and genuine desire in the relationship. That's how you have the success, not by setting it up further into a negotiated situation, because that never works. You can't negotiate desire.
No, it's utterly pointless. It leads to compliance and ultimately resentment.